And when you find yourself on your back, go ahead and cactus your arms out to the right and to the left, finding a 90-degree angle at the elbows. And then your legs can either be bent or your legs can be long beneath you. And we're going to take this first few minutes here to just really fall into the floor. So you'll notice what it feels like as you lie down here on the floor. A lot of you had expressed tightness in your shoulders, so pay attention to whether or not one shoulder blade feels heavier against the floor than the other. Notice if it feels like one hip versus the other feels a little bit more grounded or rooted. And then you'll start to take about 3 to 5 big inhalations through the nose and an audible exhalation from the mouth in order to allow the body to just settle into the floor. Big breath in, audible breath out. 3 more on your own. And last one. Start to tone the back of your throat and close your mouth and just take a few more breath cycles here. And all we're allowing ourselves in this moment is to notice where we can create spaciousness with our inhalation and how we can continue to create softness with our exhalation. So the inhale creates space and your exhale creates softness. And today the focus is really to just notice the breath moment by moment, second by second, as we get into some nuance and perhaps some challenging aspects of the practice. So to start to add breath to movement, I'd like you to inhale here. Keep the elbows bent, and as you exhale, press the backs of the hands, backs of the elbows, back of the head into the floor. And then inhale, create a softness and spaciousness. And then exhale, press the backs of the hands, the elbows, the head into the floor. Notice the shoulder blades slide down the back a little. And 3 more like that. Inhale, softness, spaciousness, especially between the shoulder blades and the upper back. And then exhale, press the backs of the hands, the elbows, the forearms, the head. And last one, inhale, softness, spaciousness. And exhale, start to press the backs of the hands, the back of the body into the mat. Nice job. And then you'll inhale here. Next, exhale, gently bend one knee and then the other and plant your feet firmly on the floor. Now, make sure your feet are about hip distance apart, and we're going to stay with just that simple breath movement. So this time, your bum will stay rooted onto the floor, and you'll inhale and arch your low back away from the floor. And then you'll exhale and press the low back towards the floor, curl your tailbone lightly towards your knees. And you'll just take about 10 of these. These are small pelvic nutations. The bum stays glued to the floor the whole time. And you can think of actually contracting the whole back body as you inhale so that you can scrub the back of the body. So we're trying to engage what are called our multifidus muscles. Because we're sitting so much, these muscles start to shorten and contract, and so they atrophy. And so we're just trying to wake them up. They'll support us for a lot of the activities that we'll do a little later, because these are our deepest core muscles on the back of the body. The front muscles, or rather the transverse, are a little bit more onto the front, but the multifidus are on the back. And so we're just seeing how that goes here. So let's take about 1 to 2 more. Inhaling, arching the spine, contracting all the muscles in the back of the body. And then exhaling, drawing navel towards the floor, tailbone curls lightly. Nice work. Go ahead and find a neutral pelvis here and just notice what that feels like. Draw your right knee into your chest and give it a little squeeze. You might take some ankle circles here. You might just simply take some thigh circles here, but you're noticing what it feels like now in the body and continuing to stay connected to your breath. Make sure you've gone both directions with your ankle circles or your hip circles. And then you'll come to a still neutral spot. Extend your right foot up towards the sky. Cross your right leg completely over the left like you're sitting in a dress so your outer shin bones touch. Now cactus your arms back alongside your ears. And then push down into your left foot, lift your bum up and slide it over to the right. Put your pelvis back down and maybe tuck your right toes under your left calf or shin. Take a big breath in here. And then exhale, pull both legs over to the left. And then inhale, come back to center. You'll just take 4 of these. So the exhale draws the legs over to the left. And the inhalation draws the legs back up to vertical. And you're just slowly working through your range of motion. There was a lot of fatigue expressed, a lot of sitting happening. So we're just trying to be gentle with the body. And then the next time both legs happen to fall over to the left, allow them to just stay there. Now press into the back of your head, lift your left shoulder up, and then slide your left shoulder to the left. Put the right shoulder back down onto the floor, and maybe you'll bring your left hand on top of your right thigh and just take 3 to 5 breaths here. Press your outer shin bones into each other and breathe into your right side body. Nice work. On your next inhalation, gently release the left hand. Draw both legs back up to center and then uncross your legs. Re-square your bum underneath your hips and just take a moment to pause and notice what you notice. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. Draw your left knee into your chest. Take some ankle circles or knee circles here, whatever feels best to you. And you're really just checking in. How is the body? How is the breath? Be sure to go both directions if you went one way. And then you'll go ahead and come back to a still neutral spot. From here, extend your left leg up to the sky. Cross the left thigh completely over the right thigh so outer shin bones touch. Cactus the arms out alongside your ears. And then you'll push through your right foot, lift your hips up, slide them to the left and put your pelvis back down. And then exhale the legs to the right. Inhale back up to center. And you'll repeat this about 3 more times. And you're just following your own breath. You're following the depth that's necessitated by your body. And you're allowing yourself to just experience what's happening here as the right foot stays pretty glued to the floor. The next time your legs cascade over to the right, go ahead and stay there. Press into the back of your head. Lift your right shoulder up, slide it to the right, and then see if you can draw the left shoulder closer to the floor. Maybe bring that right hand to the top of your left thigh, and then press the outer shin bones towards each other as you take a nice, long series of breaths into the left side body. Nice work. Go ahead and inhale, release the right hand, come back up through center, and then uncross the legs. Bring the pelvis back underneath the hips, and take a moment here to once again extend your legs long and reach your arms alongside your ears for a nice long body stretch. And you can choose to arch the body here and point the toes or flex the toes or wiggle in any way that feels good to you. You're just noticing what you notice here. Awesome sauce. Let's make our way onto our abdomen. And depending upon how you learn best, you might want to pivot so your heads are still facing your cameras, or you might just flip right over. Depends upon you. Okay. When you find yourself on your abdomen, bring your forehead to the mat. Bring your hands to your low back. Interlace your fingertips and keep your elbows bent. So elbows stay bent. Now from here, let's start by pressing into the tops of our feet. So press into the pinky toe and the big toe. Straighten your legs as much as you can, and then see if you can lengthen your tailbone down towards your feet. Scoop your pubic bone up to your belly button. Great. Now, keeping your elbows bent, draw your shoulders up towards your ears and draw your shoulder blades onto your back. Now pause here. Start to hug your elbows towards each other even more, like for some reason someone was pulling your elbows towards each other. And then you'll start to straighten your arms and scrub your thumbs down your butt to lift your head up and away from the floor. Continue to press down into the tops of the feet. Continue to keep spaciousness in your low belly and your low back. And then you might scrub your hands over to the right hip or the left hip, or wiggle around in any way that feels good to you. But I encourage you to keep a slight bend in the elbows so that the shoulder blades are coming into that icky spot that I feel behind the backs of my shoulder blades, where it's like, that's the best part to get a massage. So you're moving around and allowing your elbows to dictate how your shoulders are moving into your upper back, and you're seeing if you can still keep a long lift through the spine. Nice work. When you're ready, you'll gently release the hands and you'll come back down to the floor. Take a moment to just breathe here and notice what you notice. And on your next inhale, plant your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Press yourselves up to hands and knees. And then just take 3 sets of cats and cows here, hands spread super wide. You're just noticing what it feels like now to find a little bit more contraction, a little bit more extension through the spine, flexion and extension, just noticing what this feels like. And after your 3rd set, feel free to take any organic movement that you want. So because of this chronic sitting, what happens is our low back gets really tight. And so you want to see if you can take some pelvic circles. Like for some reason, I decided to tell you to draw a circle behind you with your tailbone. And you want to see if you can make that circle as big and as smooth as possible, because the more that we can move our muscles, that means we have the ability and the access to move our muscles. So we move our muscles so we can move our muscles. And you'll make sure you go the other way. And this is just loosening up our low back. So once you feel like you're pretty set in that, you'll go ahead and come to a still neutral position. Now from here, spread super wide through all 10 of your fingers. And then you'll start to inchworm your hands out to the right and to the left. So walking your right hand, I guess, clockwise, and your left hand counterclockwise until the heels of your hands start to face forward. And you're just doing this, and you'll go back and forth both ways. So hands are coming towards each other, thumbs are dialing in, and then you're walking them out and the other direction. And as best as you can, keep your elbows pretty straight. And then the next time you walk your hands out, and then your thumbs face wide and away from each other, and heels of the hands face forward. Let's go ahead and take a moment to pause there. Walk your hands a little bit further apart so they're about shoulder distance apart. And then tuck both sets of toes under. Take a big breath in here and exhale, shift your weight back towards your heels. Fun little stretch on the backs of the wrists. And inhale, come forward. And you've just got 4 sets of these. And you're just following your own breath, noticing what this feels like for you as you move forward and back. Maybe the heels of the hands lift away from the floor, maybe they don't. You're just noticing what feels best to you. And then the next time you come forward, go ahead and pause, flip your fingers back to the normal orientation. And then bring the back of just your right hand to the floor. So your fingers now point back towards your right knee. Keep your right elbow straight. And then notice what happens if you bend and straighten that elbow a little bit, like you're a little horse prancing, feeling what that feels like on the back of your forearm, all the stuff that we've been doing with sitting and typing and texting. This probably doesn't feel so good. Nope, Julie shook her head no. So we'll see if we can just pause and breathe. And then gently release the right hand, bringing it to the floor, and bring the back of the left hand to the floor. And you'll do the same thing. And you're just noticing what you feel on the back of your left forearm. Noticing, is it more intense when the elbow is straight, when it's bent, when your weight's forward or slightly back, and you're just paying attention to what feels best for you. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and draw both hands back to the floor. Highly encourage you to pad your knees at this point if your knees happen to be sensitive. So you'll take that blanket and put it underneath your knees if your knees happen to be sensitive. Okay, and then from here, both hands are spread wide underneath your shoulders. Tuck both sets of toes under and walk your feet over towards your right. Walk your right hand forward and to the right just a little bit, and then roll to the right and grab the outside edge of your left ankle. Draw your left heel as close to your pelvis as possible. Lengthen your tailbone down towards your left knee and push into your bottom hand, your right hand. From here, let's see if you can then draw your right ribs under your left ribs on top. And you might stay exactly as you are here with your left heel to your bum. You might start to kick your left foot back behind you and take a nice stretch across the top of your chest, top of thigh, front of body. Tailbone lengthens down to left knee. Taking a deep, deep breath. Nice job. Very mindfully, draw your left heel back to your bum, and then release your left foot on the floor behind you, legs super long in line with your right hand. Now turn your right toes back so that you're not so much at an angle anymore, and then you'll reach your left arm alongside your ears for a long side body stretch. Now we'll do a little Michael Jackson pelvic thrust here. So you'll push into your left foot, curl your tailbone under, push down into your right hand, and peer underneath your left armpit. And you'll just take a moment to pause and breathe there. And then very mindfully, that left hand will come to the floor, and you'll spiral back to hands and knees. And then we'll try that on the other side. Tuck both sets of toes under, walk your toes to the left. Walk your left hand forward and to the left, and then roll to the left side of your body to grab your right heel as close to your pelvis as possible. Now, first things first, continue to push down into that bottom hand. Continue to lengthen your tailbone back towards your right knee, and then see if you can spiral your chest forward. So the left ribs come under, right ribs come up. From here, option to stay here or kick your right foot straight back. Tailbone continues to lengthen down towards your right knee. And taking a nice, fun breath here across the front of your right chest, front of right body. Mindfully, you'll draw that right heel back towards your bum, release the right foot on the floor back behind you, and then you'll just pivot that left foot so it faces straight back behind you. Then reach your right arm up and overhead, and you'll take a moment to pause and breathe here. And then little Michael Jackson pelvic thrust, tailbone comes forward and under, push into right foot, push into left hand, reach forward and under to peer underneath your top arm. Nice work. Very mindfully draw the right hand to the floor and come back to hands and knees. Awesome sauce. From here, walk your knees, ankles, and shins together. Start to push your pelvis back, making sure your toes stay tucked under, and draw yourself up to sit. Everyone's favorite pose, toe squat. And you'll make sure that your pinky toe hasn't escaped here. And then we'll find a little bit of action here. So go ahead and extend your left arm forward. Reach your left arm up and overhead. Bend your left elbow and grab your left elbow with your right hand. From here, press the left elbow to the left. Draw it into the right and see if you can scrub your front ribs in and back. Tailbone lengthens down and skull reaches up. You got one more long breath cycle here. Awesome sauce. Next in-breath, reach up through your right arm, reach up through your left arm, and then exhale, open both arms out to the side. We'll try that on the other side. So inhale, sweep your right arm up. Exhale, bend the right elbow and grab the right elbow with the left hand. Press the right elbow to the right, draw it into the left, and then again, draw the front ribs in and back, lengthen the tailbone down and see if you can reach the skull up. Now, if you can breathe right into that space between the shoulder blades by just drawing the front ribs in and back and lengthening the tailbone and crown in opposition. Nice work. Inhale, reach up through the left arm and then up through the right. And exhale, open both arms out. Come forward, hands and knees, happy little temper tantrum. Pitter patter the tops of your feet on the floor if that feels good to you. Or conversely, shift your weight back and take a counter stretch, lifting perhaps one or both knees up and away from the floor as suits you. Awesome sauce. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Let's make our way back to our first downward facing dog. So let's come to hands and knees. Spread wide through all 10 of your fingers. Push down into the index fingers especially. Tuck both sets of toes under. Take a big breath in, look forward. And then exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. Let's keep our knees bent for just a moment. With the knees bent, push your hands down and forward. Continue to lift up through the inner armpits and then wrap your shoulder blades wide onto the back. From here, you might start to bend and straighten one leg and then the other, just noticing what it feels like here, but trying to keep that integration of your shoulder girdle the whole time. Awesome sauce. Once you feel balanced between the sides, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Pull both kneecaps up as best as you can. Lift your hips a little higher and then reach the feet back behind you. Maybe they'll touch the floor, maybe they won't. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and inhale and come forward. Palankasana, plank pose. Okay, and we're just gonna stay here for a moment. So let's all push down through our hands a lot, lift up through our inner armpits, and then slide your shoulders away from your ears. Lengthen your tailbone back and draw your low belly in. Lightly squeeze your glutes and take in a moment to just pause and take in a moment to breathe. You've got 3, you've got 2, and you've got 1. Lower your knees to the mat and have a looky-loo here. So bring your blanket if your knees are sensitive to the middle of your mat, and then bring both of your blocks or your block and your book to the top of your space. And then you're gonna stand on your shin bones on your blanket. So our blocks are roughly hip distance apart, so they're pretty close. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and start by stepping your left leg on top of the left block. Left leg, left foot on top of the left block. From here, you might walk the right knee back just a little bit, but we're not going for a deep, super hip flexor here. The top of the right foot can stay on the floor or not. It's totally up to you, but bring both hands to the top of your left thigh. Great. First things first, push down into your left foot, push down into your right knee, suck those 2 points together. Now squeeze your back glute, that's your right butt cheek, and then draw your pubic bone up towards your belly button. Keep squeezing your right butt cheek for dear life. From here, you can stay here or reach your right arm alongside your ears up and overhead. Option is stay right here. Still keep squeezing that right butt cheek, still keep pushing down onto that left foot. Now here, you'll isometrically pull your right knee towards your left foot. So it's very small. And then maybe side bend towards the left. Keep squeezing the left foot towards the right knee towards the left, as well as towards the left foot. And just finding a fun, crazy stretch along the psoas, along the side body. Next inhalation, come up through vertical. As you exhale, step that left foot back. And then we'll step the right foot forward. Now you might notice that on this side, it's slightly different, and maybe you need to step that left leg back, maybe not. Both hands on the front of your right thigh, back toes tucked under or not. It's totally dependent upon your knee, but you're gonna push down into the top of the back shin foot, push into the bottom of the front foot, suck those 2 points together. Now squeeze your left butt cheek. An option to stay here and just push the hands into that right thigh, scoop the pubic bone up to the belly button, and keep squeezing your back butt cheek, so your left butt cheek. Other option is to reach your left arm alongside your ears, and maybe you just stay here. Or maybe you start to work for that side bend by drawing your left knee to the right as you keep pulling the right foot back, left shin bone forward, and just breathe into your whole left side body. Nice work. Next in breath, go ahead and come up to vertical. As you exhale, we'll make our way to downward facing dog. So you'll remove your blocks, you'll remove your blanket, and you'll step back to down dog. And you'll just notice what you notice here. Great. Let's add on. Inhale, come forward to plank pose once again. Push down through your hands a lot to find one long line. Draw the shoulders slightly away from the ears and reach the crown and the tail away from each other. Now go ahead and walk your feet towards each other. So both feet come together. Push down into your hands a lot and then start to roll to the outside edge of your left foot. Stack your right shoulder on top of the left. Maybe the right foot stacks on top of the left, or maybe it comes forward in front of you. Great. Now we're going to tone our obliques. So inhale, reach up through that top arm, and then exhale, wrap your right arm underneath you to touch your left armpit. And you've got 4 of these. Inhale, come up, and exhale, come under. 2 more. Inhale, come up, keep pushing down into that bottom limb, and exhale, come under. And last one, I know, so much. Awesome. Next time you come up, gently release that right hand back, come into plank pose, and oh yes, that was a lot very early. Take 3 breaths here. We're using this to help us get hopefully into half moon, and we'll see how it goes. All right, walk your feet together. Bring the right outer edge of the foot to the floor. Lift your left arm up. Keep pushing into your bottom limb. Maybe that top foot slides forward. Take a big breath in and then exhale, wrap the left arm underneath you to touch your right armpit. And so we're working our internal and external obliques here. This is another muscle that tends to get a little weak because of all of our sitting. So if this is challenging, you're not alone. First time I did this, I was falling out of it. The second time, it was a lot easier. So we're just seeing what we're seeing. Nice work, guys. After you've done 4, go ahead and come back to plank. Hold for 3 breaths. And then hips high, downward facing dog, 3 breaths. And then you're just noticing. Very gently, you'll start to bend your knees and walk your feet towards your hands. Now, when you get to the top of your space, separate your feet about hip distance apart, grab opposite elbow, and just move and sway in any way that feels good to you, in any way that feels playful and curious. All right. Then we'll go ahead and come to a still neutral position. From here, release your hands down to the floor. And then go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. Draw your sternum forward, your tailbone back. Pause here. Bend your knees enough so that your spine is parallel to the floor. Reach your sternum forward, the center of your head forward, and send your bum back. Now bring one hand to your hip. Draw the other hand to your hip. Keep your spine this vertical, or rather this horizontal. Inhale here. As you exhale, bend your knees to a 90 degree angle and bring your spine to vertical for chair pose. Awesome sauce. Now, once we're here in this chair pose, we're gonna pause. So our hands are gonna stay on our hips for a moment. You can keep them right here if that's gonna work for you. Otherwise, you'll bring your hands to your low back and interlace your fingers. Continue to bend into your knees, press into the balls of your feet, and then send your bum back so the weight shifts back to your heels. Now draw the shoulders up towards your ears and draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Scoop your pubic bone to your belly button and maybe scrub the thumbs down and away from your sternum, or down and away from your tail so that your sternum can lift. Nice work. Take one more breath here, maybe bend a little bit lower. And on your next exhalation, just release your hands alongside your hips and then sweep your arms out and up and overhead. And oh my God, there's Utkatasana. Inhale, push through the feet, reach up through the arms, look up perhaps. And exhale, hands to heart center. Okay, now for this next variation, I am going to encourage you to walk your feet to touch just because it gives your feet something to do. And this is what I learned this week, which is called mountain climbers. So you're gonna bring your hands to the tops of your knees and you're gonna sit back like, I don't know, for some reason we're gonna take a race or something and you just caught your breath. Actually, no, when I go hiking, this is what I stop and do when I get tired. Okay, so we're gonna sit here and your arms are straight, your butt is bent, or your bum is as close to the floor as possible, your knees are bent. And having your knees together and having your ankles together just gives you something to press against. So we're gonna stay here for 3 breaths. And our legs are working and we're noticing what that's feeling like, pushing the inner edges of the feet and shins and knees together, pushing our hands into our legs. Awesome. Now we're gonna do 5 of these. Take a big breath in. Next exhale, stand up, right leg comes with you. And then inhale, go back to that weird squatty position. And then switching sides. Left leg comes up. And inhale back to the weird squatty position. Exhale, right leg comes up. Inhale, bend down, squatty position. Exhale, left leg comes up. Inhale, weird squatty position. And exhale, right leg comes up. And you'll stay here this time. You can bring your hands to the front of your right shin. Pull that knee in closer to you. Awesome sauce. And if you'd like, I encourage you to release your hands from the front of your shin. Bend your left leg, cross the left leg over and see if you can take eagle legs just with the legs. Nice work. Next in breath, lift the right leg up, one-legged Tadasana, and then sit back in your little squatty position. 3 breath cycles here before we do all that on the other side. And you're just noticing what you notice. Can you keep the arms straight? Can you keep the spine as lifted as possible as your bum descends as close to the floor as it can? Awesome sauce. 5 on the other side. Exhale, start with the left leg. And then inhale back to squatty position. And exhale right. And inhale. What I noticed about this is it really gets my heart rate up very quickly. It's funny because it's just like all I'm doing is lifting these big body parts up and down. Okay, this should be our last one. And when the left leg comes up, we'll go ahead and stay there. Maybe hands to the front of the shin, drawing the shin closer to your chest, or maybe not. And if the hands did come to the front of the shin, draw them back to heart center. Bend your right leg, cross the right thigh over, and maybe hook those, left toes around the back of the right calf. Awesome sauce. Gently come up and back to squatty position. And 3 steady breaths. If you can, release the hands, reach them forward, last 2 breath cycles. And then go ahead and stand up tall. And just notice what's happening in your legs. Take a little walk around after that because that was a lot. You might shake things out. I love how everybody went for water. That's awesome. Okay. And then when you're ready, you'll come to stand at the top of your space back to Tadasana. Okay. Make sure there's nothing on your mat behind you. So you might want to remove that blanket, Shelby. Great. From here, step your right foot back and slightly wide for warrior one pose. Bend into that front knee and press into the knife edge of that back foot. Now, for these first 3 breath cycles, I want you to make the small adjustments that you need to make. So you'll push into the pinky toe edge of your back foot. You'll probably push straight down into the center of that front foot and draw that outer left hip back. Squeeze those 2 points together. Lift your tailbone, or rather your pubic bone up to your belly button as the tailbone descends. Great. From here, let's reach both of our arms forward. Now, you'll cross your right arm underneath your left, and maybe you'll give yourself a hug. Maybe you'll double wrap the arms for eagle arms. Great. Now from here, continue to draw that outer left hip back, press into the right foot, and then see if you can scoop the pubic bone up to the navel a little bit more. Yeah, there you go, Roberta, and lift the elbows a little higher. Great. As weird as this sounds, start to lift your back heel up and away from the floor. Hinge forward at the hips and draw your elbows forward to the floor to lift to warrior 3. So the elbows pull you forward. That right leg becomes lighter. You're kicking back through that right leg as best as you can as you hug your outer elbows in. Nice job, guys. Now on your next exhalation, right knee comes up to that one-legged Tadasana position right in front of you. Yeah. Bend your left knee, cross the right thigh over, maybe hook the right toes, and back to eagle pose we go. Nice work. Very mindfully, gently unwind just the right leg. Step the right foot back behind you, really long stance, and then turn to face the long edge of your mat. Turn both of your heels out, or rather in, and turn both of your toes out and keep your arms in eagle shape. Great. Now bend your knees so you're in goddess horse stance with the legs, but your arms are in Garudasana. Now you can take a few little shoulder flossings here. So both knees are bent, and then you'll lift and lower your elbows a few times. You're doing it, Laura. So just lift the elbows up and lower down. And you're squeezing your outer hips in towards each other. You're pushing into your big toes, and you're noticing what this feels like in the backs of your shoulder blades. Nice work. Tim, can you open your toes out for me just a little bit more? Yeah. And then bend your knees a little bit more so knees go over toes. There you go. Great. And then on your next in-breath, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. See if you can bend your knees a little bit more as you push the outer elbows into each other, and maybe lift the elbows a little higher so they're in line with the shoulders. Great. Inhale, straighten the legs. Turn your toes in, your heels out. And then keep your arms like this. Start to hinge forward 90 degrees. So bum goes back, elbows come forward. Awesome sauce. Option to unwind the arms and bring the hands to the floor, or continue to fold all the way in with eagle arms. Now, once you've gone all the way in, you will release your arms if they're still bound. Hands are underneath you, and then take the opportunity to notice what happens if you just bend your right leg. Just bend your right leg. Press the left pinky toe edge of the foot to the floor and say hello to your inner left thigh. And then you'll come through center, and then you'll switch sides, bending just the left leg, pressing the knife edge of the right foot to the floor. Nice work. And then go ahead and come to center. Great. And just take 3 breath cycles here. See if you can let your head go just a little bit more. There you go, Barbara. And then notice if you can find a little bit of squish in the backs of your knees. So the spot below your kneecap comes forward as the spot above your kneecap goes back. Nice. Great. From here, walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift, spine lengthens forward. As you exhale, bring a slight bend into your knees. Draw one hand and then the other to your hips. Pull your hips back as you pull your head forward. Yeah, there you go, Barbara. Draw your shoulders onto your back and then inhale. Yep, Steve. Inhale, come up to vertical. Nice, Robin. Awesome sauce. Now just take a moment to push your hands into your hips into your legs into your feet into the floor. And then you can either jump or hop your feet or step your feet together. Loop. And then step to the top of your space. Awesome sauce. Great, we get to try all that on the other side. Okay, step your left leg long and back. So back and wide a little bit for warrior one. And then you'll bend that front knee and you'll take the first few breath cycles here to adjust this shape for your body. So how does it feel for you to push into the back pinky toe edge of your left foot? Bend into your front knee and then draw that outer right hip back. There you go, Erica. As you draw your pubic bone to your belly button. Nice, Shelby. Great. Now from here, reach both arms forward like happy little zombies. Your left arm comes under your right arm on top, and maybe you just give yourself a hug and you hang out there. Or maybe you bring the backs of the hands to touch, or maybe you bring the palms to touch. Great. From here, keep hugging your legs together, but start to lift the back heel. Start to shift your weight forward, pulling your elbows forward to pull your chest forward to lift your left leg up. And wobbling is okay. Now, once that left leg starts to lift off the floor, keep pushing back through that left foot a lot as your elbows reach forward. Nice work, guys. Next exhalation, draw that left leg in front of you. Come up to one-legged Tadasana with Garudasana arms. Great. Bend your right knee, cross the left thigh over, maybe hook the left toes behind the back of the calf, or maybe they touch to the floor. It's totally okay. Yeah, you're doing it. And lift the elbows a little bit higher. Nice work. Very gently unwind just the left leg. And then step the left leg back and turn to face the long edge of your mat. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And then from there, you'll swing you were good, Roberta. You'll swing your heels in and your toes out. Then bend your knees to about a 90-degree angle. Lift the elbows high. And on this set, as you take those shoulder flossing, lifting and lowering your elbows, if you want challenge in your legs, you can lift your heels up and away from the floor. So it's like you're wearing high heels. But again, you just notice what feels like a good, appropriate challenge for you. Maybe it's keeping the heels down and just really rooting through the feet. And maybe it's lifting the heels up. But you got about 2 more breath cycles here, and you're just noticing what you notice. Nice work, guys. And then go ahead and come to stillness. If your heels are lifted, lower them down and bend the knees just a little bit more for these last 3 breath cycles. Where's the breath in the body? Awesome sauce. Next in-breath, straighten both legs. As you exhale, turn the toes in, the heels out. Keep the arms wrapped, and then you'll start to hinge at the hips, coming forward to a 90-degree angle. Then maybe you fold all the way in, or maybe you release the hands to the floor. Once you've folded all the way in, if the hands are still bound, please unwind them. And then again, you have the option to do the first variation that we did the first time, which was just bending one leg and keeping the other leg straight. Or you might try Skandasana, which means you turn the toes of the bent knee out a little bit and you turn the other heel out as well. And you're just choosing what feels best to you. And again, you're noticing what you notice as you move around. Awesome sauce. All right. Great. When you're balanced between the sides, go ahead and come to a still neutral spot. Okay. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale, halfway lift. And then as you exhale, bring a slight bend into your knees, little squishies. Bring your right hand to your right hip, your left hand to your left hip. Really push your hips back as you reach your heart forward. There you go, Barbara. Draw the shoulder blades onto your back and lightly tuck your chin into your chest. Nice, Jenny. Next, in breath, bring your spine all the way up to vertical. Nice. I want to call you Alice, but I don't think that's your name. And then when you exhale, just take a moment to pause. Laura's daughter, that was nice. I can't remember your name right now. And then from here, you'll either step or jump your feet together. Great. Come to the top of your space. Next, we're doing what Darren Rhodes called power pose. I'm sorry in advance, you'll appreciate me long term. Okay, so for this one, you can either put a block between your shin bones or you can walk your knees, ankles, and shins together, but it does help if something's touching. So you choose your own adventure for this one. And we want to make sure that if there is a block, your feet stay hip distance apart. And your knees stay hip distance apart as well. Cool. Let's start by bringing our hands to our hips, and then you'll bend your knees and sit your butt back. Okay. From there, hands can come to the low back, and you'll interlace the fingertips, awkward opposite interlace. With the elbows bent, draw the shoulders up towards your ears, draw the shoulder blades onto your back, and then you'll start to scrub your thumbs down your sacrum, and the heart will lift. Scoop the pubic bone up, and see if you can draw those front ribs back. Now from here, you'll start to curl your forehead towards your knees and scoop your belly away from your thighs as you bend your knees even more. Your hands will reach up towards the sky. You'll keep squeezing your blocks or pushing your knees in towards each other, and you'll scoop your belly a lot as you sit back in that fun pose, and suddenly we feel our legs a lot. Round your forehead to your knees as much as you can, like you're going to a cat pose. Hug the shoulder blades onto the back, elbows lift up. Nice work. And then very mindfully, keep the hands as they are. Start to straighten the legs. So the arms reach up to the sky. The legs start to straighten, and you're in this weird Uttanasana. Now slide the shoulders away from your ears. Yep, nice, Mike. And then take in a deeper breath. Nice, Tim. Very gently, hands come to your hips, release them to the floor. And then if you had a block, please remove it. Great. Step your right foot back and your left foot back, come into a downward facing dog position. And just take 3 steady breaths here. Awesome stuff. Let's add on. Inhale, lift your right leg up and back. As you exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Spin your left foot down for warrior 2, and then come up for warrior 2. So make sure your pelvis is facing towards the long-ish side of your mat, and it might not be 100% parallel to that, and that's okay. But what I'd like you to do first here is push into the knife edge of your back foot, bend into your front knee, and make sure your front knee is tracking over the center of your front foot. So squeeze your right butt cheek a lot. Great. Now, from here, reach your right arm forward and up and overhead. Bend your right elbow and grab your right elbow with your left hand. Option to stay right here in this half Gomukhasana shape thing with the arms, or maybe reach your left arm up, turn your left thumb down, and bring your left hand behind you to clasp your right hand. Maybe you take that, maybe you don't, but you've got 3 breath cycles here. Now keep pushing out into your feet and hugging your feet towards each other isometrically. Keep scooping pubic bone to navel, and then breathing into the ribs in the back of your body especially. Nice work. Great. Now, no matter where you are, let's
We lost the volume of you, Jess.
Yes, we can't hear you. I can hear my breath though. Holy cow. Jess, we still can't hear you. We can't hear you right now. FYI.
She looks like her screen froze. Otherwise, she holds that pose real good.
Hello.
Hi.
What's happened there? Tim?
We lost you. We lost you.
I know, my thing just slid. I saw Jenny down and then suddenly nothing was there.
Like, oh gosh.
No worries.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
We were impressed at how long you were holding that pose, and then we realized you were frozen.
Yeah, no, that's not good. Okay, so let's go back to that. How long were you there? Okay, so we were in our little Sam's Warrior 4, and we're just going to pause here for a moment, finding a long, long side body. And then very gently, we'll release our left arm back and release our right arm to come back to Warrior 2. And we want to keep that right arm forward because we're going to take that same little action that we did before. So start to walk your back foot in, reach your right hand forward, and then lift up through the back leg. And we'll see how that goes. Nice work. Awesome sauce. Maybe you reach the top arm up to the sky, and maybe you don't. Gently step back to Warrior 2. And then go ahead and cartwheel your hands back to the floor and step back, downward facing dog. Awesome. And then we'll go ahead and try all of that on the other side. So let's go ahead and inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And then exhale, step that left foot between your hands. Spin your right foot to the floor and come up for Warrior 2. Great, and then you'll just take a moment to notice what you notice here. Can you press into the knife edge of that back foot? Widen through the inner left knee and make sure that left knee tracks over the center of your left foot. Yeah, then inhale, reach your front arm up, bend your left elbow and grab your left elbow with your right hand. So we're going for the Ardha Gomukhasana arms. And you're just noticing what you notice here. Can you still keep lifting evenly through both sides of the waist as you hug both legs in? Nice. Now, perhaps you reach your back arm up or your right arm up, turn the right thumb down, and maybe bring the hand behind you to clasp the left hand. If you've taken that option, continue to pull your front ribs in and back and breathe into the back of the body as you lift up through the skull. Great. Now we'll try Sam's Warrior 4. Next inhalation, find length through your spine, and then exhale, hinge at the hips just a little bit so that left elbow comes towards the left knee and the whole left side body stays long. And you'll just take a moment to breathe here. Our obliques are having to work quite a bit. Keep hugging your legs together. See if you can keep your heart and chest open. Nice. Next in-breath, reach up through your right arm and come back up to Warrior 2 as you reach that left arm forward. Bring that right hand to your right hip. Yep. Keep the left arm reaching forward and then start to walk your right foot in just a little bit as you reach out through that left hand to bring it down into the floor, slightly off, perhaps to the left. Nice job, guys. Nice, Steve. Maybe you gaze up, maybe you don't. And then very gently, you'll step back to warrior two. Nice, Tim. And then from here, let's go ahead and cartwheel our hands down to the floor, low lunge, and step back, downward facing dog. Great. Come forward into plank pose. And then lower your knees to the mat. Lower your right forearm and then your left forearm to the mat. Cool. Now from here, step your feet back towards forearm plank. Okay, now you have the option of just staying here in forearm plank with your legs super long and strong. Reach your heart and sternum forward. Lengthen your tailbone back. Option to stay right here or bring your right arm alongside bring the right hand to the floor like you're going for half chaturanga, half forearm plank. Yep, hug that elbow back, crown forward, tailbone lengthens back. Great. Then release the right forearm back to the floor and you'll switch sides. So left hand comes back, hug the elbow back, crown reaches forward, tailbone lengthens back. Nice job. Release the right, or rather left forearm back towards the floor, and then everyone lower to the mat. 3 steady breaths. Forehead all the way down. Nice. Okay. Last few things. Cactus your arms out once again. Make sure there's nothing immediately to your right or to your left. And then with the hands cactused out, look to your left hand. Slide your left elbow arm a little bit away from you to the left. Spread wide through your left fingers and start to push down into your left hand and your left elbow. Keep that. Now turn your head back to your right hand. Bring your right hand underneath your right elbow. Start to roll towards the left, maybe bending both knees underneath you at a 90-degree angle. And with that left elbow bent, you might not get very far, but that's okay. Everyone keep pushing down into your left hand, left elbow, and isometrically. So without moving that, pull that towards your right thumb. Maybe lift your head away from the floor and just breathe into the front of your chest, pec major and pec minor. Very gently, you'll inhale and come back onto your abdomen. And then we'll go ahead and switch sides. So bend both elbows 90-degree angle. Look towards your right hand. Slide your right elbow hand a little bit out to the right. Push down into the elbow, the forearm, spreading wide through your fingers. Keep that activation and then turn to look at your left hand. Step your left hand underneath your left elbow and then start to roll towards your right. Maybe you bend both of your knees at a 90-degree angle, or maybe that left leg comes. Just depends upon how much mobility you have. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. Keep pushing down into the right hand, right elbow. Maybe lift your head up and away from the floor as you just notice what's happening in the front of your right chest. Awesome. Gently come back through center. And then from here, bring your hands alongside your hips. And we're going to try that opening back bend we did at the very beginning and see how it's going. So interlace your hands at your low back. Separate your feet about hip distance apart and press the tops of the feet into the floor. Great. Lengthen your tailbone back and energize both of your legs. And then keeping your elbows bent, draw your shoulders up to your ears and draw your shoulder blades onto your back. As you inhale, start to straighten your arms, reaching your hands back, and that'll lift your head. Keep pressing into the tops of the feet, hugging the shoulder blades onto the back and seeing if you can lift up a little bit more through the tops of the chest. Awesome sauce. Great. Take in a big breath here. And on your next exhale, bend both of your knees and draw your feet towards your bum. And then inhale, straighten the legs away from you. So we're just going to do 3 sets of these before we hold Dhanurasana. And you're just strengthening the back body so that once you come up, the whole strength of the back body can support this back bend. Nice job. The next time your knees bend, you'll pause there, grab the outer edges of your ankles, lengthen your tailbone back, flex through your feet, and kick up as much as you want by pressing the shin bones forward, tailbone back, shoulder blades onto back, heart reaches forward. Nice work. Very gently release the legs and come forward and down. Nice work, guys. And then bring one ear to the mat and then perhaps the other ear to the mat. And you're just pausing and you're breathing and you're noticing what you notice. Nice work, guys. Gently make your way onto your backs. And this would be a great opportunity for your strap. And when you lay down on your backs, we're going to start with having both of our knees bent. And you're just noticing what it feels like to turn your palms to face up and just rest here for a moment. How does the chest feel now? We started with a lot of chest openers, and just how does it feel now? Does it feel like more of the shoulder blades are even on the back? I can see you, Robin, you're good. And then draw your right knee into your chest. Bring the strap across the ball of your right foot. And then send your right foot up towards the sky. And we're only going to go for a 90-degree angle here, so perpendicular to the body. And the first thing that we're doing is we're just trying to make sure our low back feels okay from all the crazy stuff we did today. So straightening that right leg as best as we can so it goes straight up to the sky. There you go, Tim. Push up through the ball of the foot and pull down through the 4th and 5th toes. Really reach from your right sit bone up through your right heel. There you go, Roberta. Up through the inside edge of your right arch, the right ball of the foot. Yeah. And then maybe from here, you straighten the left leg long. If the left leg is extended long, flex through the left foot as much as you're flexing through the right. And then see if you can melt the back of the left thigh, back of left calf to the floor as you keep reaching up through the right heel. And you'll just take 2 to 3 more breath cycles here. So this pose is good for everything from insomnia to low back pain. And so we're just giving ourselves the opportunity to experience that for a moment. And then if you bent the left leg, bend or straighten the left leg, bend the left leg and put the left foot on the floor. Then bend the right knee, draw it into the chest, release your strap, and just lower the right foot next to its mate. And notice if you notice anything between the sides. And then we'll try the other side when you're ready. Draw the left knee into your chest. Bring the strap across the ball of your left foot. And then send your left foot up towards the sky. And we're working just for that leg to be straight. It doesn't have to be close to the torso. As long as it's straight, we're doing well. Nice. And Jenny, draw your outer left hip away from your shoulder a little bit more. And then you'll just take a moment to pause here, really finding the length from your left sit bone up to the left heel, reaching up through the left ball of the foot and pulling down through the left 4th and 5th toes, straightening that left leg as best as you can. Now, if you'd like, you could extend the right leg long beneath you. And again, we're making sure that the sacrum stays rooted. So if the right leg is straight, you're pushing into the back of the right thigh, back of the right calf, flexing through the right foot. Notice if you can soften your shoulders away from your ears a bit. Yep, nice, Robin. And then just take in 2 to 3 more breath cycles here. Soften your face a bit. If that right leg is extended, bend the right knee and plant the right foot on the floor. Draw the left knee into the chest. Release the left strap. And then plant the left foot on the floor next to the left or next to the right foot. Now you can choose to stay here or just open the legs out for Baddha Konasana. You can choose to extend the legs long, but you're going to rest in a position that feels comfortable for you for the next 3 to 5 breaths. And as you're resting in whichever shape you happen to be in, take a moment to check in to see if there are any final shapes or shape that might feel really nice to your being. And you'll start to move into that shape or into those shapes. And some of you might feel like you might just want to hang out in Supta Baddha Konasana. If that's the case, I highly encourage the use of blocks at that point. And you've got about another minute or so doing whatever feels best and whatever feels nurturing to you. So I encourage you to take the opportunity to explore. And then when you feel complete and when you feel balanced, you'll bring yourself to your final resting pose. So either Supta Baddha Konasana or Shavasana, but I do encourage you to make sure that the body is warm. So maybe wrapping the self with the blanket or covering up with socks or sweaters or anything that feels appropriate for you. And then as you come into this final pose, start by noticing if the body is even as best as it can be to the right and to the left. So fidgeting until it feels like your right shoulder blade and your left shoulder blade are equally in contact with the floor. The right hip and the left hip. The right foot and the left foot. And then you'll start by bringing your awareness to the soles of your feet and softening any tension there. Travel up through the calves and notice if you can create a sense of spaciousness in the lower part of the legs. Create a sense of ease around your knees. Allow the thigh bones to really just root and soften into the floor. Allow the pelvis and the sacrum to drop back. Find softness and space through each of the bones of the spine. Noticing if the backs of the shoulders can now drop a little bit more, the shoulder blades a little bit more into the floor, and see if that broadens the collarbones. And then allow the arm bones to be heavy, the forearms, the wrists, and the fingers. Traveling back up to the center of your spine, notice if you can soften any tension around your neck, around your jaw, letting the tongue be heavy in the mouth. Softening any tension around the eyes, and letting the eyes just soften into the sockets. And then soften any tension around the forehead and the skull. Now today we'll end with what's called a Kriya. It's an energizing technique. And so as you inhale, I want you to draw your awareness from the crown of your head down to the base of your spine. And as you exhale, the energy travels from the base of the spine back up. So inhale, draw the breath from the crown down. And exhale, drawing the energy from the pelvis back up. And you'll just continue like this for a few moments, directing your awareness up and down the spine as the breath naturally enters and exits the body. The next time you exhale, just allow your awareness to rest in the abdomen. And with your awareness resting in the abdomen, you'll notice the natural inhalation and exhalation of the breath. From a yogic perspective, it's said that if we can really optimize this center, our navel center, we have the potentiality to exist in the world in the way that we wish to. And so for the next few moments, next few breaths rather, allow yourself to just be here. Very mindfully return your awareness, coming back to the room that you're in. As you come back, just allow yourself the opportunity to check in with your body, noticing if there's any part of you that longs to linger here for a few more moments or a few more breaths, and if so, hang out here. Otherwise, start to invite small movement into the physical form in whatever way feels best to you. Start to make your way over to your right side, and you'll just rest using the right forearm to support the head. Start to roll your chest more towards the floor. Press into your left hand, release your right hand, and draw yourself to a tall seat. And you'll just take a moment here to really allow yourself to sit super tall and super well. Seeing if you can keep the heart space open by sliding shoulder blades down the back. Letting the heart come forward, but the chin tuck back just a bit so that the head, the shoulders, and the pelvis are in one long line. And then you'll just take 3 steady breaths here. Either gaze soft and down towards the floor, or eyes still closed. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum, and then lift your heart towards your thumbs. Allow your chin to bow towards your chest, and just take a moment here to bow in a sense of reverence, a sense of gratitude. The light within me honors and salutes the light within all of you. Namaste.